Look at this.
It's got a man on it. Is that war?
Oh, it's a little wolf riding a unicorn. That's where I'm at today.
Yeah, comedy, pure comedy.
God.
Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Vice Press Open Channel, where we get together to talk about things we've done and seen and made. And this week, Matt's asleep. James is having an existential crisis by the look of it, and I feel broadly fine. We're going to talk about a bit of the big boys have done their big convention, so we'll get a bit of a wrap up on that. And what else? I don't even remember what about 4 minutes ago we decided what we're talking about, and I've already forgotten. So I think we just rip straight into that. Yeah, James, how did it go? How was it?
It was very successful. Sorry, we've just been blabbering for 10 minutes and now completely lost the ability to think. It was awesome. It was very good. It was amazing. Very stressful. Lots of stuff.
You had some people
wrong.
through the door, it looked like, so that's a big start.
The artists loved it. Loads of people came.
Well, that's what they told us. I mean, they're hardly going to say it's fucking shit, you two twats, are they?
Yeah, it would never come again. How about you, Matt? How did you... Because we didn't, like normally, last year...
I was fed up by the end. I was not very well.
No.
Just fucking hell, honestly. Lots of inane bullshit questions from people. People want me to sign posters.
This is great.
Talk about what we do, all that sort of crap. Ugh, rubbish. It was pretty good, actually.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Me and Matt didn't speak all day, like last year.
Yeah, we had a
when
big
ran
fallout first thing, and then we didn't speak all day. And our tables were next to each other, so I was just like, fuck out! And he was like, fuck out! Across from each other. No, that didn't happen. To be honest, it was good. People liked the little vending bowls, which was fun. There was a couple of people who clearly got, like, addicted because they just kept on coming back and getting more, and they're like, I've got to get them all, to the point where I was like, look, I've got a box of spares here. Which one have you got? I haven't got the Stegosaurus. I need the Stegosaurus. There you go.
It's literally the point of the gacha thing.
I know
like,
it is. There's one person, though. There was one guy who was like, I'm going to have a go on this. I want a unicorn. And he didn't get a unicorn. I think he got a pterodactyl or something. He was like, I'm not happy about this. I wanted a unicorn. I was like, you didn't know how these things work, right? And he was literally not happy. And then I was like, here, have a fucking unicorn. And then he was happy.
Well, I've already thought this through for like things that I have coming down the line where there's going to be a blind box element to it. And if I'm at a convention and people are buying them there, if they buy a couple and they get a double straight off the rip, like I'm going to have a little exchange bucket, yeah, pick from that, stick it in there, kind of thing. Because when they're in front of you, it is a bit like, oh,
I think you only do that
for 14 balls.
Yeah. I think you only do that if they get a double, though. If it's not what they want,
yeah,
tough. But if they get a double, they can do that. I think that's
two.
cool.
Yeah, 100%.
You got two T-Rexes, fine.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, one kid,
fun,
it was great. One guy bought 5, right? And then he gave the tokens to his little kid who must have been about 6 or 7. And she just rang them all through the machine, but wasn't getting the balls out. So it just got clogged up because it just got backed up and then couldn't open the door and had to take it all apart. And it was just like, thanks a lot, you stupid kid.
Yeah, how dare they? They're just getting
Kids not knowing how things work. I mean, honestly, they should know better.
It was amazing the amount of kids that actually came.
They were all so nice, to be honest. Everyone was very well behaved. There was no badness.
Yeah. We only had one guy that wanted his money back for coming in.
What?
That was fun.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it was a guy
he came in. What, he paid a tenner?
Yeah, a guy had seen it advertised, so he came, walked around, and then he said to the volunteer on the door, "There's no Marvel or DC posters. Everything's really expensive for like whatever." He had a bit of a rant, and they came over to me and was like, "Look, this guy's not happy. He wants his money back." I'm like, "It's fine. He can have his money back."
I don't think they come up to me because that would have gone differently.
It was quite it's interesting, really. Why? I don't know what how we could have made it any clearer what
Some
it
people
was.
just are never happy. I mean, look at me.
Yeah, no one was ill. No, no one was ill. No one hurt themselves. No one got run over.
The roof leaked though, didn't it? We
Yeah.
turned up and the roof was leaking.
Yeah,
That was fun.
we did.
Only in
You know what?
Melbourne could you have 1 year where everyone is dying of heat exhaustion because there's no air conditioning in a brick warehouse, and then the next year the roof is leaking from excessive rain. Like,
This is how hard it is to plan for these things, right? Last year we had a friend of ours come and do a coffee van, and the bar. And in the end, the coffee van didn't do very well. The bar took like 3 or 4 grand, a stupid amount. So
And
we were
cold,
like,
nice cold beers that everybody needed because it was so hot.
yeah. So like this year we thought, right, we'll not have a coffee van. The bar will do great. Everyone wanted coffee. Like,
'cause it was
oh,
like
you should be doing coffee. You should be doing
10
tea.
degrees. It was like unseasonably cold, and people were like, "Oh, just a
Yeah.
hot tea is all I need." And
So
we're
you
like,
just
we ain't got that.
can't
girls.
win.
You just can't. You just can't. You know. So no matter how much thought goes into it or whatever,
I think.
Yes.
I think you, though, James, you do yourself a disservice. In general, most people were very happy. I think with it, apart from that one guy who wanted his money back, everybody was very pleased, weren't they?
yeah. I just like focusing on the negative stuff.
Yeah.
It was good. It's the what I was going to say. The feedback from the artists as well. The stuff that they say they'd like to see improved is the stuff that me and you already knew we needed to anyway. So if we do
Yeah.
it next year, which I'm sure we will,
If
when
come
I'm sure
on
we
now.
will. Like, there's stuff that we know we can change and do different. Like, yeah,
I made that logo already.
yeah, you did.
Open Hills 3, the search for Henshaw. I already did.
We'll get that date. So, what was what was your favourite thing about the whole thing, Matt?
Me?
Yeah, what did you like
When
about
it
it?
ended, I'm not going to lie, I was really sick. I
Yeah.
wanted to go to bed.
Yeah,
So, I've got to be honest, it's amazing I made it through the day. I'm really sick. What are you going to
yeah, yeah. It's fell at the wrong
Well,
time
that's
for
it.
you. This illness,
That's the thing.
isn't it?
Well, from the outside looking in, it looked like a big thing. Looked like a real proper job. You know?
Well, it was great, and like you know, I liked that. I always like when people want to buy the stuff that you've made because it's a different feeling to when you're selling stuff online. So when
Mhm.
someone's like, "Oh, that looks really nice." So like the Mad Max poster, which doesn't sell, the APs of that, I think they might still be on my store. Doesn't sell that well online, but I sold like nearly 20 copies of it because people were like, "Oh, that's nice. That looks nice in person." And then like that, the Scott Pilgrim poster, Hannah's one, it just looks so nice in person because the foil, that one we tested
Yeah,
the matte coating, so it's not a gloss coating on it; it's like a matte coating, and it just makes it really subtle. But when it hits the rainbow in it, it looks really, really good in person. That one, and that one was sold really well because people were like, "Ooh, that looks nice,"
Okay.
you know.
that's cool.
So it's that kind of like face to face where people can see the quality of it. That is the most satisfying thing for me, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
big success.
Yeah, you
I'd
coming
say
next
so.
year,
Onward
Florey?
and outward.
Yeah, you
What's
should
that?
come next year. You should come next year.
Yeah, make it more than a day, and I don't know.
No.
No, you
Mate,
can't
it's
handle
not.
that?
Still only a day.
Yeah, I think
Oh
a
my.
day is key.
But there'll be a screening.
my.
I think
Oh
one thing I
my.
think would be interesting to do.
Think about the 2 days at Thought Bubble. Sunday's crap anyway. It's like just no one's there.
Yeah, so we'll be there
I'm
this year.
finished. I want to go home on the Sunday. I'm like, ugh. You know,
Yeah,
might
you-
start
I mean,
doing
you're
that.
not-
I
you're
might
not
just
wrong.
start leaving.
Oh, you would.
You know, like Jock, for example, because he just rocks up and does some signing, and is like cool, and then leaves. I'm at that stage in my life where I want to do that. It might be different when I'm not sick.
Yeah,
I'm a very difficult time at the moment taking myself outside of this world of sickness that I'm in. So
He's a misery guts, everyone, as you can hear.
real misery goes. Yeah.
but then I know how you feel. Like, look how poorly I was that year at Thought Bubble, that first
Oh,
year
no,
at Thought
exactly.
Bubble came.
We just want to go to bed.
You just, yeah, but then you just want to muscle through and do it because you feel bad. And we are
Hey,
such
but
a small
look-
team. You get a man down, and it's like,
Positives. Andrew Swainson gave me a 40th birthday present, a die-cast Corgi Enterprise. How cool is that? It's like all made out of solid die-cast. It's really nice.
World's nicest man, by the way.
He's the best, is Swainson. And then Mark got the Mark and Me podcast. It's incredibly helpful on the day, actually.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to listen to that.
He's a very, very nice guy.
Yeah, I listened to the first episode this
Gave me
morning.
this.
It's very good, that Folio
what's that?
Society Jaws.
Oh.
Jaws.
Oh.
Like a fancy version of the book. And Batman issue 1. Not the original one, obviously, like a reproduction, but still. I said to him when he gave it to me, I was like, well, I don't want reproduction. Wait and give me the original one. Get lost. That's what I said.
I bet you did. No, that's like one of the reasons I want to come. It's like, yeah, okay, I want to see you guys. I want to see the gang of artists that, you know, I've been over a few times now, and it's like you kind of get to know these faces. But it's like I kind of want to just like dick about with him with the microphone as well. It's like such a good idea to have a man in the corner that just sort of roves and has people drop in and out. Like that's
Yeah.
Oh, he's just awesome, is Mark. He's top banana, so
He's very good. And I do think that's the element that we can build on as well. So obviously you've got Mark doing the live panels and stuff, but I think there's an opportunity to do like more with some of the guests and bits and bobs along those lines, because there were so many folks that came that were wanting to know about breaking into the industry or doing art, or kids coming and wanting to do stuff. I think
you get those sorts of questions a lot, and how can you answer it? You just sort of say, work hard.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, it doesn't have to be on the day, but like almost doing a little program of events that's around like almost masterclasses or TED Talks or something like that, but in line with us, in line with how we operate. Like not
chill.
None of this. Yeah, chill, and also
we should be doing this show.
Realistic, like you've got to be a lucky
point.
bastard as well. I would like, and doing this. I would like the exhibition thing as well. I think an exhibition would be good.
Yeah, I think there's so many ideas, and I agree, Florey. I think having you over next year would be really cool to look at how we do like a live version of the podcast and stuff like that. And there's also
people listen to this podcast apparently.
I don't believe it.
Australia is gone. You just went.
They've just gone all Mad Max world.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see how that is in the recording, I guess.
You're back. You're back.
I'm having no issues, so I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you were saying, Florey.
I don't know. Oh no, I was going to say that's the thing about like what I was saying before. You have the one day thing where you can extend your event out, either bump it out one side with a screening the night before, and then bump it out. Then maybe the next days, we're in a bar recording this, and 60 people can come or whatever our average viewership is of the video. Some stuff like that.
There must be quite a few people, because there was lots of people saying, listen to the podcast.
I think what's happening
several people said that we need to stop talking about Planet of the Apes.
Which is outrageous, because
it's not going to happen, because we're talking about Planet of the Apes in a minute.
If you don't like monkeys, tough shit, because that's what
this is the Planet of the Apes podcast now, dickhead. And what could we talk about, though, with Planet of the Apes this time, other than, it's good?
This is the thing. We don't actually think that much about Planet of the Apes.
No.
So when it
just
comes
that we've happened to talk about it a lot, but now we're talking about it. Yeah. It's better than Furiosa.
Do we? We've got Thought Bubble coming up, and you're coming up to Thought Bubble. Do we do a live version of this somehow at Thought Bubble? Obviously, we've got.
I think so. We've talked about.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about that each year, haven't we? And we last year we did it in Manchester a few days after as like a little wrap up in the same room. And that was one of the best little. It was fun for us, but it was also, I think it's with these things that, as we just saw when I apparently turned into a garbled mess, it is quite difficult to get a good flow going when you're either in two different houses and then one's in the other side of the world. But when you're in the same room, it's a bit of fun. And I think the last live show we did was pretty much a disaster. But if we thought about it for 10 minutes before we walked on, I think we could do all right. So
people sat there. Oh, God,
with the
you should
headphones on and
listen to the Mark and me ones, because I do the last one, and he's like, save the best till last, Matt Ferguson, and then I'm like, and this is at like 4:30, at the end of the day, and I'm just
had
like,
it.
what? And then he's just like, have you had a good day? And I'm like, sure. It's really, really bad.
That's what you want.
I'm obviously like dying.
Dying to death.
So what do we do then? Do we do a an hour before the screening? So do it in the cinema before the
That's
film,
an idea.
and record it there, or do we do it separate on the Saturday night and just find a room in a pub
I
somewhere?
would like it to be just us with no people sat in front of me.
Oh, you don't
Yeah.
want to do it live, as in
No,
live
I
in front
don't.
of an audience?
I'm not a
What
live
if, what if,
studio audience
what
kind
if
of person.
we sit somewhere, but they're like allowed to stand outside at the window behind us, like a Today Show situation? That'd be something.
You know what we could do? We could do it because you're over. We could actually properly plan, and we could rig up the office so we can record it in the office, but then people can watch live while we do it in the office if they want. So, not
Why do you
through
like
the
the
window.
Office so much? Why do you like the Office so much, James? You're always
Well,
trying to
we
get
do it
stuff to
anyway.
happen there.
You're like,
We could do it in
Office.
the Airbnb.
We're going to do it at
Office.
Matt's house.
office.
Yeah, do it
office.
in Matt's house.
No one's coming to my house. Get lost. As if. Not.
That's why I said it.
No one's coming to my house. You can all, yeah.
You got all fuck up.
Screw
I'm not
off.
going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere. But yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Right.
That's a next year problem, We've got
Well,
time to
it's a-
think about it.
It's a November problem, isn't it?
I really am terrible, like I got a special invite to go see a new movie that's like extremely exclusive this week, and I was grumbling about having to leave the house and saying, why can't they just send it to me in my house? This is the real problem for me.
I mean, that's very English, but then you are the most English person that there is, so it's like just times.
I like
10,
to think a bit like how sometimes something is so bad it's good. That I'm so English, I've come out the other side, and I'm not as English as
No,
English
you're stuck
people.
in it.
You reckon
You're
I'm
right,
still mega English?
No,
I don't know about that.
I think you're like you're an offshoot for sure, but then your core is so English. It's not molten rock. It's just like pure whinging,
I do like a whinge. It's
I
true.
will change it. Matt is Yorkshire in terms of not necessarily English in terms of because he hates queuing.
I don't queue
Oh,
up for
yeah.
anything. I'll just walk off.
So it's very much that kind of 1920s, 1930s Yorkshire, northern, not necessarily Yorkshire, but northern, very.
How much? I say that a lot. I went when I was down in London, and it was like £9 for a coffee. I was like, what the fuck is this?
£9? Jesus.
I don't know. It was too much. I did. There was a bit where I really wanted a coffee, but there was like 3 people in front of me waiting to get coffee at the train station, and I had time. And I just walked off and had no coffee, and then got like a cup of tepid tea on the train instead.
You remember that one we went to right at the end of Manchester, and I'm like, I've got a pocket. Let's just say it was bulging with cash money, right? And they're like, oh no, sorry, we're cards only. I'm like, motherfucker, just all I need is coffee. It's like, what are they doing over there? They really have
Cards only
issues.
is the real problem for me.
Yeah, you're right into it though. I don't.
Yeah, we don't do
it's-
cash very much anymore.
No.
Doesn't. I mean, this is the thing. Like, I complain about it, but I haven't seen cash in years. But I still want there to be the option, especially if I'm out of country.
This podcast is
Boring.
crap this week. Yeah, we're talking about like logistics.
Why is it
No one
crap?
cares. No one cares. We're just having a chit chat, you peanut.
Yeah, I
this is
know,
all we
I
ever
know.
do. What else do you want to talk about? You
don't
bring
know.
something
Well,
to the bloody party.
I
Jesus.
will. I'm gonna.
Go.
We started on series 3 of Sweet Tooth. That's very good.
Oh, boring.
Have
is that
you
still
watched
going?
Sweet Tooth? Yeah, it's
I watched
finished.
season 1 and I was like,
you're idiots. It's really
I
good.
didn't
It's
even
nice.
finish Fallout.
wow.
Oh
You got
wow,
problems though, James. You don't like watch or do
you have
anything. Though.
problems. Yeah, you have real problems. Did you
Well-
do Shogun yet? Have you finished Shogun?
No.
He doesn't like it.
What did I do? What have I
It's like the
been
best
watching?
TV show ever.
Been reading a
You
lot.
just watch like burglars.
Taskmaster.
You just watch burglars 24 hours, don't you, and stuff like that.
Well, no, I've been
A&E 24 hours.
That's because of that. What did we watch? We watched a documentary yesterday about kids that were chucked in a desert. That was pretty cool. We watched a lot of documentaries. It's Simpsons. I started Simpsons from the beginning again.
Yeah, that's always good. If you like
Seinfeld.
documentaries, James, the Jim Henson one on Disney Plus is very good. We watched that. It's Ron Howard directed.
Right, so I will
Very
watch
good.
it.
Very good.
For Nat to watch it. Does anyone get murdered?
No, it's really nice.
so
It's just like
really-
Jim Henson was a nice guy and he made Muppets. That's the gist
Yeah,
of the
I know.
story. Obviously, it was really good. Really good documentary.
I'll watch it. Inside Number 9. Been watching the last series of that. It's final
Yeah,
episode
we
tonight.
need to do that. We've not done that.
It's half an hour stuff. It's as and when I grab it.
What's that animated one on Netflix? Because a couple of London types told me that I need to watch it, and someone else told me I need to watch it, and now I can't remember what it's called. It was like Mobius artwork.
Don't know.
They said it's like the most amazing thing. They're talking about it on Australian one, Weekly Planet.
I haven't listened to this week's yet. I know there's a Terminator like manga coming out.
Yeah, with old
An
mate
anime?
doing the voice for it. Yeah.
Uh,
What's his name? Timothy Oliphant is the voice of
Oh,
the Terminator,
really?
or am I crazy?
No, I
It's
hadn't
almost-
seen that.
Scavenger's
them.
Reign. You'll have heard it. Scavenger's Reign. it's
Scavenger's Reign.
Yeah.
Sounds like a video game of some kind.
It looks cool because it's all Mobius artwork style stuff, but apparently it's really
That's
really
cool.
good. But then again, who knows?
Can't trust them.
Can't trust
Some
anyone.
people have bad taste, don't they? Some of them.
Well, look at me. I like some real terrible things, like Planet of the Apes.
Your whole life's built around Flash Gordon, literally. So you know, it's what
but
it is.
that's objectively not bad.
The other thing we were going to talk about was Star Trek 3, Search for Spock.
Yeah, Star Trek 3 Search for Spock is back in UK cinemas.
With
From
artwork
tomorrow,
by?
well, Friday the 14th. I did the new key artwork. I'm very excited that it was up in Leicester Square in London on a big screen, and all I wanted to talk about was the fact that old films can fade away, and doing things like this, doing them commissioning a new piece of artwork, shows that they care, and I think the general public go, "That's new." So they're putting a bit of effort behind it. Maybe I will go see it. It's like when they do the Star Wars ones. People go, they create a little bit of a celebration around it, that it was a good thing.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing like we could do, like we did with RoboCop, where I know it's only old people that like it that go, but like, for example, with The Phantom Menace, I took my daughter to go see it, and she liked it, and that's how you keep things alive, by doing that with films. And it's like E.T., it's dead. Nobody knows what E.T. is anymore because they never do anything with it. They don't celebrate it like that. You know?
No.
That's a very odd one. Like my kids loved ET when we watched it a couple of years ago, and
Yeah, Martha loved it.
they went went to school and was like, "Oh, no one's ever seen that, Dad." And I'm like, "What? What's going on?"
It's
Oh,
mad,
this one's
isn't
not
it?
slapping
Kids in
people.
general just don't watch films like I'm pretty sure mine's the only one that's watched like a Ghibli film or any film, because they just watch YouTube and
That's what
clips.
shit, don't they? I mean, one watch bullshit. Like it's just all
Oh,
Mario
totes.
Kart shortcuts and stuff on YouTube at the moment. But with this sort of like bringing films back, I've instituted movie night. It's happening. It's happened, and we had the King's birthday. I know that's just here. We do it now, but we had that the other day. So we had a 4-day weekend because the school put a fucking curriculum day on a Friday. So we had a few movie nights in a row, and I was like, oh. What if we rip into Back to the Future? They've never seen it. We've got a 7 and a 10-year-old. Mate, that fucking movie. Those movies are so fucking good, especially the first one's
Oh,
like
man.
perfect. And it went perfectly too. Mate, you would know. James, you've got your nephews and stuff. When you show them something and you're
When
doing
they
a little...
key in on it and they go, "Whoa!" Yeah.
And you're watching for the bit like, when the car first
Yeah,
rolls
it's
out
his face
or
or
like
his
whatever.
face.
I think he's froze.
We're frozen.
Oh well, I'm
Fuck's
sure it was
sake.
very interesting.
We're having internet. We're having internet.
I'm
today,
sure it's very
aren't we?
interesting what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Like last time
Oh,
when I
yeah,
was
it'll be
editing it and everything.
We'll just
so
fix it. Yeah.
it's going to
Yeah,
be me and
fix
Matt
it in
talking
post.
over you, making a very good point.
It's just like it's like
Fix it
anything.
in
It's like you say they go wild. It's like Martha went absolutely nuts. Well, not absolutely nuts. That's an exaggeration. She just was like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Phantom Menace because she knows Obi-Wan Kenobi as the old Alec Guinness version. And she was just like, what? You know, and like, just to see them get like that is really good.
The bit that got
we were
me
talking-
was like I thought Herbie would be into it, right? Because it's cars and it's cool and whatever. But we were sitting there, and it's the part with the the Libyans come and they've shot Doc Brown, and Marty jumps in the car, and he's just like sort of driving, trying to get away, and she's like, "Dad, if it doesn't he doesn't realize." I'm like, "What do you mean, mate?" If it goes 88, he's going to go through time. It's got 1955 on it. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, what's going to happen? I'm like, we're going to see some
Find out.
serious shit. And she's like, and they were just like right in. And then we did number 2 the night after, because I was like, wow, there's more. And they're like, there's more. So we're on for 3, I think next weekend. But
Nice.
yeah, it's awesome.
It's cute, and it is amazing
Old
how
films.
much those films resonate. Like you said, I've done all the same with my nephews. They've all seen Ghostbusters. They all generally like that. Jaws, Jurassic Park. It's got to have a certain thing to it, right? Those films that came out around those Amblin films, that era of films, they all had an adult tinge to it. So as a kid, you kind of like, ooh, should I be watching this? Could I be watching this? And it's quite exciting. So as they get older, like showing them things like Poltergeist and stuff's going to be fun. Like Gremlins, maybe like some of them could start to get to the point where they can watch that now.
The Hanging Story and Labyrinth and Dark Crystal. All those really weirdy ones. I'm looking forward to those.
Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah.
We've done Labyrinth.
No, yeah, we've done Flight of the Navigator. She watched it all.
Really?
She liked it, yeah. She was in. She got it.
This is the problem with kids, like the kids these days. Bloody kids these days. But they're not exposed to anything. So when something does challenge them, they're terrified, or they just they go away from it because they just don't understand what it is. But
What is it? A nation of squibs?
Yeah, exactly. But if you are careful okay, look, let's not go straight to the Crow and RoboCop when you're 7 years old. Like, well, that's kind of what happened to me, but like, we probably shouldn't do that. We should pick our times. Like, if I had have done Back to the Future too early, if I had have sat them down, you see these dudes online and they're like, he's only 2 and he's already seen Terminator. And it's like, yeah, but he hasn't. You've got to pick the time for them to be interested. No, pick your battles, and like, it can go well, and then you've got a child that's interested in film, and that's another way that you, like you were saying, Matt, carry these things on.
But it's like a path as well, so you can start when they're 2 with stuff like Moana, or like Disney stuff that's like easy going.
But still
good. My Neighbor Totoro was one that she loved from right down that age. One of the first times she ever really reacted to a film was that film. When the dust sprites leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She got really sad and she cried because she didn't want the dust sprites to leave the house. And she was like, and it was really cute. But, and then we build up to more intense stuff,
Yeah, 100%. Even some of the Ghibli ones, you're just like, ooh. Like mine still haven't seen Mononoke yet, even though we watched all of them.
That's the one we've avoided because it's
because their head comes off like 5 minutes into it. It's wild. But the Totoro, that's just absolute magic. That everyone that's seen it knows that it's magic. But watching that we watched that movie
with kids, it is insane.
Probably 148 times, like every single day. He had Totoro. We got they'll do you like a custom thing for your cake, birthday cake, just out of sugar or whatever. So we got a Totoro made with like holding balloons or whatever for his 4th birthday cake, I guess it was. And then we pulled that out for his 5th, and he's like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's Totoro. He's seen it 178 times, and he's like, never seen that before. What the fuck? So we sat down and watched it again. He's like, this is good. I'm like, yeah,
but
you're
I think
obsessed with it.
even when they forget stuff, it's subconsciously
It is,
gone
yeah.
in, and they
Yeah.
and like you're just like being able to deal with stuff that's slightly intense, like the girl goes missing in that movie and stuff. If they don't have that exposure to that kind of thing, then they just can't deal with it when they watch. And I think lots of kids nowadays, they're just terrified of stuff, and it's like, that's not scary. What are you scared of that for?
Well, they also can't
I'll
follow
show you a
narratives.
scary film, you know.
What's this?
I do
The
think
narratives as well. They can't. I find they can't sit down and like follow through a story, and that really pisses me off.
Or have the trust that it's going to go somewhere. So like, or somebody goes missing, or something gets stolen, or whatever. Oh, there's some scary thing. It's like, yeah, but the story is going to go on, and then they're going to deal with it, and then there'll be a resolution at the end, because that's how stories work. And it's important for them to learn that, both in films, from film and books, I think. And it's something that you don't get off your TikTok.
no.
You should see
But it
these
is-
fucking kids when lightning hit the DeLorean, mate, at the end of 2. They lost it. It was so good. Now, getting off whatever the fuck we were just talking about,
Don't know.
I'm going to put you in it now, James. Is there any questiones for this
Yeah,
week
we
at all?
do. Yeah, you two
Okay,
check
yeah.
something up. We have got something. Right, so we've got a question from the Movie Poster channel, which I found out was Peter Hendricks at the weekend.
That makes sense.
What's the movie poster channel? What's the...
Should we have a look at what their content is? Let's have a look. See
Oh,
what,
he's running his own social media thing.
yeah, see what stuff Peter spoke
I
about
like
into the world.
Peter. I do. I
don't
do
like
like
Peter.
Peter.
So you want to talk about
fun guy.
energy? That guy's got it. Yeah.
Oh, he just loves it.
He's a good
It's
egg.
great. And,
Right, big question. Apparently, lads, big question. I need answering. He does.
I'm on.
Lads.
The big question I need answering is, which format works best, quad or one sheet? I'm just going to say, Pete, you really hyped that question up to be a lot more important than what I think it was.
Well, they're both large. One goes one way, one goes the other.
Well, a quad is also fatter, isn't it?
Squarer, yeah.
Quad is my preference. Well, it's just because I'm English, and that's our poster size.
I never even knew they existed until, I don't know, when did I do that? 5 years ago when we were in New York
when
or
I was
whatever, and you were like,
quads.
yeah, do
It
it.
was,
Nice,
it was 5
do it
years
nice.
ago
So I
this
was like,
week.
quad, and I was like, it was. Yeah. Just all, like I said, when I found that out, all downhill from there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, quads are pretty cool. I mean, I like them because it's a different design challenge. It's just there's a way to do it, and it's different, and I like
Well,
it.
you've got a more real estate to play with, obviously, like horizontally. So there's different approaches. There's the sort of classic where they would take the American one sheet and then
Smack it on.
just plonk credits to the side, which does look good. Like the Jaws one, like that looks good.
Yeah.
It's like quite a pleasing thing to look at. Or then there's more ones where it's done specifically, like ones I've done where I've done it designed to be like that. But to be fair, it depends on the artwork as well, doesn't it? Some artwork designs, like, because I do a lot of the one sheets, obviously, like the Star Wars ones I've done. In general, I prefer the one sheets, I think, to the quads.
Are they 20? What's that? 27 by 40? Is that
27 by 40, and then traditionally, it was 27 by 41, and then they around about 1983, 84, they sliced an inch off. So
do we know why?
there's
Someone did it by
so
accident.
there's that ones of 41 inches, and then they've all been 40 inches for the past like 40 years or so.
There you go.
There you go.
Depends on what space on a wall I need to fill.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, I think there's nothing more that it varies from print to print. Like, I've got an airplane quad up in my kitchen, and we've got a Jaws one sheet up in our kitchen. So
you can get more graphic with a quad and play with type you can do things with the type have a lot more fun. So like the Indiana Jones one I did, the quad, I got to play with that more because you have so much more space.
It's interesting though, but is that because your mind has been geared to see it as this, like, that they're, because how they usually, like you said, how they usually done it's artwork over here, and then you've got a third of it for type usually. But are we only doing it that way because we've been trained that that's how it looks good?
I guess so, yeah. But then, like, look at the Search for Spock one I just did. The quad of that is just the one sheet, but then extended, and it's just empty. But then it lends itself to the sort of
atmospheric nature of it.
Yeah, so, there's ways of doing it, but I do like those when they've got a big type on, and it's just like adventure and all those sorts of ones. Yeah. Quads. Yeah. I like quads, I think, personally, but yeah.
Cool. Right, let's have a look for some more questions. So we met Omar Zambon Omar's contributed loads to this podcast in terms of questions and things. I can't find any new questions, but I just wanted to say a big shout out for Omar for making the trip over and coming over to Open House. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for the questions.
Right. No, we've asked that one. Here's one. This one's quite interesting. And you've asked this a lot. So this is from Dan Lyle. So Dan works at Forbidden Planet in Sheffield as well. At Forbidden Planet, we're a huge support for Open House and promoting and marketing and things. Dan's asked, at what point in your artistic careers did you realise you could quit your regular jobs and do art full time? And how stressful was this transitional period?
We've got different...
What?
I'm frozen again, I think.
I'm getting shit.
Dude.
You were frozen, but we've got different experiences there. So, Florey, you can talk.
I'll go
first, I guess.
All right. So, I quit my job and then decided to do this. So it was pretty stressful. Well, I mean, so because I was a graphic designer for about 8 years, and I was like, ugh. Well, really, no, I wasn't fed up with it, but I was starting to be, and I was sort of like, well, okay, I'll go and get another job in design. Like, all right, I'll go. And I was going on interviews and all this sort of stuff. And at that time, I was sort of mucking around. Like every Sunday, I'd make something and post it online, and then something happened. I think I got into a bottleneck show and like sold 3 prints and was fucking stoked. I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. So as I was kind of going through all these interviews and kind of trying to find the right fit, this was like starting to like get in the back of my brain that it could be something. I was probably looking at like Ollie Moss stuff and Matt's stuff and whoever was doing stuff at the time and going, they seem to sort of be doing something. And I sort of said at a point, I was kind of like, I reckon this could be something. As I said it to my girlfriend at the time. And she was like, yeah. And all props to her. She made the money while I fucked about and tried to make this a thing. And it's taken a long time. And you want to talk about stress? Shit. Like the amount of times that I've thought about quitting and jumping off a bridge or whatever else. Like it's really hard and it's really stressful. And even at the moment, like I think collectively we do well enough. We can have lives with like professionals at it, but there's still weeks where you're riding the wave of being a sole trader, where it's just like it's up and then it's fucking down, and it can be really tough. But you just gotta keep plugging away. It's just what you gotta do.
Yeah. I was not a designer before I did this.
Can you tell?
I worked in HMV. I worked in a shop, didn't I? And then I was doing it for a few years. I started around about 2010. I quit HMV in 2014 because in 2011 or 12 I got my first professional job, which was for the Avengers. That was my first professional job. I just fell into that.
Super annoying. So annoying.
And then I did it. I was like, oh, I'll just stay at HMV because I'm not sure what's going to happen with this. I did a few more things. I did and then I did an exhibition with Bottleneck, and then I did that Star Wars Guardians of the Galaxy, which really, which I have umbrage about because it's not really my artwork. I didn't do anything other than smash two things together. But anyway, that's besides the point. So I quit after that, and then 2 weeks after I quit, I got a job with Marvel Studios and I did like 8 posters, and they paid me money.
More money than you'd seen in your life, probably.
Ridiculous. And then, I've just been doing it ever since. So I literally went from shop to Mr. Poster.
So how have you found it? Like, from you, because Florey talks about the ups and downs, which we talk about a lot privately as well, like when we chit chat, and that, you kind of have periods where you're going through a boom and then where it's quieter. I think you're considered one of the more prolific and one of the more successful artists in this industry. But so where do you find the biggest challenges are? How do you feel about that?
I just worry that it would go away because obviously I'm working for myself, so that's why I have that drive to do more and why I do quite a lot of work. But my main concern is the perception, and I've got to try and make sure that each one's better than the one before.
Yeah,
that's all I worry about, and then I just let everything else take care of itself.
Because you're one of the more resilient people that I know, and I think outwardly you do kind of have this very resilient attitude. But I think it's important for people to understand that even when you're at the peak of your career, and long may it continue, there still is the concerns, whether that's creatively,
I don't feel
that's
like
financially.
I don't like anything I do, and I'm always nervous about people not liking it.
Yeah,
and worried that it's going to go wrong in some way. But I think if I was like, oh, this is great, I'm the best, I'm number one. If I was like that, I think I wouldn't be where I am because I wouldn't try.
No, but the artistic,
I'm not happy with anything I do.
Artistic types that, like us, that have a certain level of like drive. I think that's what it is. It's just drive. Like there's better artists than us, but they don't work. They can't push themselves the way they think they're good. Maybe I don't know what it is, but because it's got to be the worst. The last thing is the worst thing you've ever done, and you must push forward, and that's what keeps it going. And it's our brains are broken, but it does actually work out as a benefit in the end.
You get to a point where the poster where you've either got to hand it over because it's the deadline, or you just go, right, well, that's close enough.
I can't do any better at the moment.
And you go, and sometimes you think, yeah, that's a good poster, I'm really happy with that. And then I go, and I every single time, the second I've handed it over, when I look at it again, I'm just like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. What did I fuck up for? That's terrible. And I'm not doing that again. Every single time. It's so weird because it can be like minutes. I could hand over a poster that I'm happy with, and then once it's finished and hand it over, and I can't make any changes because that's it. It's going to print. I'm just like, oh no, I fucked it up. Like the RoboCop when I put that, I was quite happy with that, and then I was just like, oh no.
But you just wouldn't. That's why you haven't stagnated though, because you have that in your mind, and it makes you go again. And you can see people either they get to a point where they don't really have to work, so they stagnate, or they lose that and they just make the same thing over again, expecting it all to be fine. And we have conversations all the time about like, oh, I've got to do something different. I've got to try something different.
Well, you do stuff for me anyway. That's kind of like becomes like a real thing. So like after The Empire Strikes Back, a lot of the posters were like that, and still are, because people seem to love them, and also that's what like clients ask for. You make it look like that one because that one was really good. And then like my like knee jerk thing is I just want to do something different. So for ages it was the Dutch angle. Everyone was just like, "Oh, you're doing Dutch angles, are you?" And then I was like, "Right, well, you know what? I'm not going to do a Dutch angle this time."
Yeah,
and you still did it a few times by accident, though. They just can't help himself.
And then I love that you threw it into RoboCop. because originally that was straight, and you were like,
That was straight, and then I went,
hang in.
let's Dutch this bitch. Is what I
They
said.
made it.
Just,
That's how it goes.
Mark of Mark and me recorded some interviews over Open House this weekend, and he put them out. I've listened to the first one. Carly AF, she's one of the interviewees on there. Carly covers some of that, really articulates it really well in that interview. So I'd recommend folks go and have a listen to it. Also, Carly agrees with us that one of her inspirations, one of the things that she really liked, was toy packaging back from the late 80s, early 90s. It's interesting she brought that up. Florey, just going to go, something you mentioned a minute ago that I think is kind of important to Dan's point. You mentioned, and similar, I've been through this, where you get loads of things that kind of, you get those thoughts where you just want to give up. You've done, you just want to go and do something, you get paid for it and whatever, and forget about it. What's the things what keeps you going? What kind of changes that thought? What's the thing that you kind of think, actually, no, I'm cracking on, I'm doing it, and continuing?
Stubbornness. Spite.
It's usually out of spite because I've said to him, "That's shit. What you doing?"
Yeah. No, I mean, I know that I can do it, obviously, because I do it. I do.
Yeah.
I do it every day. So, and I've, at this point, that you'd be a fucking moron to work at it for, like coming up 10 years probably, and then like to sacrifice all you have, or to like have everything's gone grey. Like you've worn yourself down to have this level of success that you have. There's no quitting now. Like, and plus I've just completely rewired my brain to like live this way now. I don't go and fold the washing when the movie's on. I just go, oh, but if I change the green on that Star Trek poster, like that could be, I could do that now. If I have 5 minutes, I'll just get in here and be like, and then like someone comes and finds me 4 hours later. It's like
It's the problem solving, isn't it? Though it's like I find myself,
I just love it.
Laid there, just thinking about how to approach something and fix it, and go, how can I make it better? You know?
Yeah,
I can't sleep more than 6 hours a night.
I'm doing a poster at the moment. You've seen the rough, and the studio love it. But
you hate
there's
it.
there's something in the back of my head making me go, "You got to make it better than that," and I don't know what it is. And I'll find it, and I'll do some. Maybe I'll put it on a Dutch.
What's the most satisfying thing about the whole process to you? What's the kind of, to both of you, what's the point that you kind of, where you get that? Yeah, what's the satisfying part of it?
Honestly, we've already talked about it today, and it's the reason that I keep, at great personal expense, I keep flying back over in November for Thought Bubble, is just when you see someone like they actually get it, or they pick it up and they're stoked about it, and they want to take it home, or they bring it in, they've had it on the wall and they bring it in for you to sign, because like you guys ship my stuff from the UK, so I don't see it, like I don't sign a lot of my prints. It's just not cost effective and time wise and shit like that. But it just, I don't know, just the weirdly face to face, like person to, I got an email from a guy the other day that it's like, he was just sort of saying like how he just loves it, and he's loved it, and he just can't afford it, and all this sort of stuff. And he wasn't like trying to get a discount or anything. He's just like, oh, I just like wanted to kind of let you know that I do look at the store. So he's like one live visitor that you have in there all the time, probably, that never buys anything. And I was like, yeah, no, man, that's what it's for. We make consumer goods. Like, yes, we're making art, but
it's when somebody who loves Star Wars, it's like Phantom Menace, when somebody who is like, their whole identity is Phantom Menace, perhaps, it's just their favourite film ever, and then they say to me, that's the best poster for the movie. I'm like, shit, really? Thanks. It just makes you feel really good. Or even better, weirdly, with big ones like that, when somebody goes, I fucking hate that movie, but you've made me want to go watch it again. A few people said that, and it's like,
job done.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's that people appreciating it, I think.
Yeah. I think that's a nice little sentiment to end on. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Can't get much better than that. And then I guess with that, we're wrapping it. We will hopefully be back next week. Bye for now.